to the Mr. Boxing Guru podcast. It is me, Sal, Mr. Boxing Guru. Hope everybody's having a great day. Big shout out to Los Anaya. That's their music playing in the background right before we start. Thank you guys again for the big intro. Guys, I wanted to start this week a little late because, well, there's a lot of other podcasts, a lot of other stuff that you guys pay attention. Not only podcasts, because it's not fair. But you guys want to hear about what round ended where, the punch stats, that type of stuff. And I get it. I get it. That's not me. I'm not media. And that's not what you're going to get from me. What you're going to get from me is I'm going to tell you a little story. I'm finding my rhythm as this podcast thing goes on. But that's what you're going to get from me. A good story. And yes, we will talk about current fights. But more than anything, you're going to get a good story. So hope you get it out of your system. Go ESPN, watch and read your stories. Listen to those big podcasts. Again, I get it. That's not what I do. I'm here to tell you a story. First thing that kind of pops into my head this week was actually Kubrat Pulev, which, again, he wins his U.S. debut, which was on ESPN. What he also debuted himself is to the uproar and the triggered media here in the U.S. What I mean by this is that after his fight, there was a young lady interviewing him. And as he was as the interview was coming to an end, just again, very awkward interview. Not a lot of substance, not a lot of good questions. Just random questions, I guess, that were being asked. The guy grabs her, la agarra, he dips her, plants a big wet kiss in her face, and then that's it. Kind of dips her romantic, como dicen los the cubanito romantic style, and that's it. So I think she even it was a little awkward. She's, gets a weird giggle, moves on, the video ends. What happened after was that all the triggered individuals jumped to say what type of a jerk this guy was. How could he ever do that? You don't do that to a woman. If he were to have do it to me, I would have done X and Y and Z and all of this stuff. Everybody put themselves in that girl's shoes without knowing the facts, without doing a little information, a little digging. First thing that happened is that everybody that wants to be first jumped into social media and express their opinion on why this was such a bad thing. I kind of wanted to let it play out because I want a little more information as the night or even the next day went about. We found out that they're very good friends. Again, other news stories said, or other people that were in the event said he saw him having dinner at the end, not a romantic dinner, but a dinner with the team. So it almost seems like we all got clickbaited, I guess you could say. We all jumped a lot of people, not me, but a lot of people jumped into conclusions that they shouldn't have. What this guy did, he just gave this girl a career. Now you guys know who she is. Now you guys are going to find out. Thinking something about she does naked sushi or I don't know, something like that. But you guys are paying attention now, where before you weren't. All because of a simple kiss between a guy, I guess, supposed to be her friend and whatnot. But everybody felt triggered. Everybody felt like they had to give their opinion. Everybody felt like if they were to kiss me, I see a lot of people, a lot of fighters that said if he would have kissed me, I would have slapped him. Again, it was already a pre-embedded story, and you guys fell for it. You guys ate it. So much other things to be triggered about, but you guys wanted to be triggered about this. So, yet interesting start, I guess, to the show, to the story, and whatnot. But that's actually what happened on Sunday. Lipinets KOs Peterson in the 10th round in a very tough, grueling, just crazy, not crazy, but just tough fight. One of those good fights that you just like to watch. You don't care if it's for a belt. You don't care if it's, any type of Huichola artifacts are hanging around the fighter's neck. You just want to see a good fight, and that's what you got from Lipinets. We all know Lipinets is a hell of a fighter. I mean, he gave Mikey Garcia a hell of a fight. And Lamont Peterson, I mean, who could deny the kid? I mean, he's been win with everybody. But what ended up happening after the fight, again, he gets Lamont gets knocked out. But he decides to say, you know what? I'm hanging him up. I'm done with boxing. And good for him. If he was able to give his fans, because the fight was in DC, so he in his hometown DC state, I guess you could say, he was able to give his fans one last fight. Again, even if he didn't win, because if you guys know me, but I don't care who wins as long as you give us a good fight. If you were able to give your fans one good last fight in your hometown, I think you had a stellar career. And I think he's fought everybody to have a stellar career. I mean, you got to think about it. Peterson was one of those guys, unlike the rest of the PBC stable, that he fought. I mean, we're talking about this guy fought Lucas Matisse, he fought Victor Ortiz, Kendall Holt. If you guys are old enough to remember Kendall Holt, I mean, Timothy Bradley, I believe that was his first loss, if I'm not mistaken, Timothy Bradley. So he's a seasoned vet. His last fight right before Lipinets, I mean, we're talking about he fought Errol Spence Jr., of course, in an uphill battle. So a fight that he had no business with a guy like Spence. Nonetheless, he fought him. He didn't win, of course. But that's the career of Peterson. Now, Peterson, I don't know if you guys can remember, he had a fight in 2011 with Amir Khan. Again, great fight. One of those just good, solid fights that you want to see a rematch to. So what happened after that is that the rematch got granted. It was going to be for May in 2012. The rematch never happened because Peterson got popped for performance enhancement drugs, PEDs. Once it was all said and done, what we found out is that he had some sort of artificial testosterone. He got caught for it. He got put on a bench, I think, for a year. And then he fought, I think it was Kendall Holt. Quickly after that, he fought Lucas Matisse. If you guys remember correctly, Lucas just starched the guy. I think it was the first round or something, but it was just a bad fight. After that, began a pattern with Lamont where he fought once a year, like ish, or 11 month-ish, somewhere in between. But it was a pattern where he fought, every year. Again, I'm not sure if he fought that far in between because he was waiting for those big money fights, which he ended up getting, even if he came in as an opponent. Or he just didn't, or I don't know, because again, from my understanding, PBC fighters get the fights that they want. They don't have to wait that long. They're just big money fights when they come. Or is it the pattern of the performance enhancement drug user? Did he have to wait to let something cycle off of his body? Again, Peterson's a great guy, but once there's something there that doesn't belong in your body and you get popped for it, people are they're gonna question you. And I'm questioning Peterson. I wonder if that's what it was. That's why he didn't fight as often as he should. Again, great fighter, great gentleman to be around. But I wonder if the PED in Peterson was what damaged this kid. Again, he's still a very young guy. Again, he has nothing else to prove, but I wonder if he was cycling off of something, and that's the reason why he didn't fight as often. Again, great guy, great kid to be around. Again, he fought the who's who of the 140, 147-pound division. Wish him nothing but the best. I hope retirement really treats him well. Again, but this whole story with fighting once a year, it bothers me a bit. So hopefully it's it. Hopefully he does retire. Hopefully, I don't have to give my sob story now and and take it back later, sort of like Robert the Ghost Guerrero, not fighting in undercards but overcards because he's fighting at midnight because he's somehow, some way, still in the search of trying to make some sort of comeback. Again, Peterson, if Lamont, if this is it, salute to you. You had a hell of a career. I am going to question your inactivity. Hopefully I'm wrong. I really, a lot of the times, honestly, I really hope I'm wrong. But it is what it is. You got popped once, I'm going to question you forever. Same things happen with a lot of the other fighters, that even some of my favorite fighters that have been popped. I've always questioned them, their integrity. But hey, only you know what you've done. Other than that, oh yeah, last Thursday was a bit interesting. Golden Boy had a DAZN-ish fight card, I guess you could say. The fight said it was going to be on DAZN. I checked on my phone because I wanted to go back and watch it. I didn't find it. But nonetheless, it was supposed to be Golden Boy Fight Night on DAZN from the Avalon. Of course, we know the Avalon because it was one of the venues that Tom Loeffler used. I think Golden Boy has used it as well. I think it's for a Joseph Diaz fight. Good venue, little different. I myself still enjoy my Velasco. I did see a lot of great people. I see some people that I didn't want to see, but the fact of the matter is that I enjoyed myself. And what I like about these club shows, and I'll tell you, is that it's a great place to be honest or to get honest work. In my opinion, Golden Boy is known. If you hear Golden Boy, you think Canelo, you think HBO. Now, I mean, you were to think, I don't know. I mean, the late era Morales. Before I'm saying HBOs and whatnot. Now you think I guess in some cases, the casual fan, you think Munguia. But the root of Golden Boy is making these small club cards. And I think they're very good at it because Golden Boy's never been shy to test their talent. Look, at the end of the day, if you find a gem in one of those kids, you find a gem. And if you don't, well, guess what? The fans got a hell of a show. And that's what ends up happening with a lot of the Golden Boy fighters. Again, either you sink or you swim. It's completely up to you. They build you. They give you the manufactured fights, but at a certain point, you have to fight. And that goes based on what I saw this last Thursday. One of the fights that really caught my attention was this fight with this gentleman named James the Beast Wilson. James the Beast Wilson, if you've ever followed him on Instagram, I started following him maybe about a month before the fight. Guy is 7-0, 6 KOs, so he pretty much knocked out everybody that he's faced. Yes, a manufactured record. Yes, a record pretty much built in TJ. But the numbers don't lie. At the end of the day, look, if he didn't have power, he would have knocked out those fighters. So, and you see him, he's built like a rock. The guy looks like a Greek god. Just even, I don't know, I'm kind of scared of looking at him because he just looks intimidating. Big dude. And again, it's kind of curious because Golden Boy doesn't really have heavyweights. So, last heavyweight that Golden Boy had that had talent was Ruiz Ortiz. So I know Golden Boy, at the end of the day, who doesn't want a heavyweight? Who doesn't want to build a heavyweight? So I know there was something in there for us to see. So, again, is this kid's debut? I don't want to say kid because the guy looks like he's up there. At least, well, again, I don't want to say he's 30, but he looks like an older gentleman. But guy looks good. Again, he's built like a rock. They find an opponent for him. Of course, when it's your debut, you got to look good. You got to find somebody on quick notice, and that's normal in the club scene. You can't find somebody that's had a 4 to 6 a week camp. You got to find somebody that's just there to fight. And honestly, in the heavyweight division, I mean, you can't find a heavy Mexican. That's not going to be a problem, and that's what they did. They found this gentleman by the name of Cubos, Miguel Cubos. Miguel Cubos is a guy with 13 wins, 20 losses, chubby Mexican. that was brought up to fight on short notice, 2 days, if I'm not mistaken, 2-3 day notice. He, just like any classic Mexican, he goes and he gets an assignment. He says, "Vámonos," and ready for war again. They both walk into the arena again. Wilson looks great again, just built and looks like he's made for this. And Kubos takes off his shirt, and he resembles a lot of my deals, a lot of myself. Chubby dude with shorts on, with a shirt off. Looks kind of funny. You really think about it. I look kind of funny without my shirt. I want to do it in public. He did. Good for him. What happened next was a bit interesting. Because again, like I said in the very beginning, this type of fights, you learn if either they have it or your prospects have it or they don't. You also have to trim the fat. At the end of the day, this is a business. You can't babysit these fighters. Just because they're signed with Golden Boy, just because they can sell tickets, doesn't mean you're going to babysit them for the rest of their life. Again, Wilson just started with Golden Boy, so I get it. They brought this opponent last minute, but this opponent, for many of you guys that have seen Kubos fight before, we've seen him in the Thompson cards. Everybody knows he's supposed to lose. The promoter, his opponent really knows when he sees his record that he's supposed to lose. Miguel Kubos really doesn't know he's supposed to lose. He's here to put on a show. He's getting a paycheck. He's here to, not only for today, but based on his performance today, hopefully he gets brought back tomorrow. That's the type of fighter Miguel Kubos is. And he gave us a great war. Anytime that Wilson would go in there and just start throwing punches or just, was going in there, he was just throwing nothing but power punches. He was trying to knock this kid out. Again, Miguel kind of saw everything coming. It seems like his eye and feet coordination are very good, even for a very chubby guy. But he was able to not land anything substantial. Nothing that'll hurt him. And that was the great thing about this fight, that he kept him honest. And at the end of the day, they fought to a draw. Again, this guy that looks like He-Man can't beat this guy that looks like your average taquero. That's huge. And every time that Kubos would throw a punch and land a punch, the crowd went crazy, started screaming, "Kubos, Mexico." I mean, the after the fight interviews were great. I think Beto was interviewing him in the ring. It was just a great fight. And a hell of a learning experience for James Wilson. I want to see James do good. The question is, how does a guy like James Wilson learn from this experience? Does he learn how to set up punches? Does he learn how to throw a bit more in combination? Because again, an athlete, he's there. He's like the perfect mold of fighter that you would want. Now, the boxing, it's what needs to take place. I want to see him do good. Again, everybody knows I really like the whole Golden Boy circuit. That's never been something I hid from any of you guys. And I want to see Golden Boy, give me a heavyweight, especially like James. I mean, the guy is badass, man. So I want to see him do good. Again, now the learning experience, he got it. He got a draw. He didn't get a loss, which is I'm very happy. A lot of people there were saying that Kubos won. Again, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But again, the career that they're trying to build here is James Wilson. Does he learn from this? Does he try to just blast, the next opponent out? What does he do? I hope. I from what I've read, he wanted to go a little faster. He wanted to be on the fast track. I think they have to slow him down a bit and see what he really has. But again, keep going back to the original point. This is what these club fights are for. That's why I've been seeing all these. Now that I'm getting a little deeper into boxing, I see the way these local club shows work. where it's just different. You have to build fighters from scratch, and you have to be very careful how you do it. Golden Boy, I think it has the ability to be a little more free because, again, they have a little more money in their pocket, so they could bring in different type of opponents. So I love the club scene. Whether it's Golden Boy at Top Rank when they make a small fight here. 360 Promotions, they just had a card last Sunday as well, which did very good. That's a big shout out to Tom Loeffler and friends. Seems like every single card gets a little better, gets a little busier, and these guys are selling tickets, so good for them. But going back to this the zone-ish card last Thursday, the main event guy had to be Mercito Gesta. Mercito Gesta, this was supposed to be his main event. We didn't know much about the other fighter. We know that the fighter was coming to win. He had a record of, he had about 7 losses to his name, but again, tough fighter, tough lefty Mexican fighter. And he brought it to Mercito. Mercito, I think, dropped him in the first round. After that, again, the fight was pretty even back and forth. They gave a lot of the rounds to his opponent. Again, his opponent, I shouldn't say just his opponent. His opponent's name was Juan Antonio Rodriguez. Again, very crafty guy, back and forth, and I think in the 9th round, he touched Mercito's body, and Mercito wasn't able to recover, and he ended up stopping Mercito. Again, this one kind of sting a little because Mercito's with Adidas, and of course, I'm always biased to anybody that wears the brand. But I stayed because I wanted to talk to Mercito because I didn't want to feel like, the fight's done. These guys are done, and that's it. No, I went back and talked to him, and he was a bit apologetic over his performance, but that's what kind of, struck me as odd. I'm like, don't worry about that, man. Mercito, you just had a great fight. A lot of the times, these fights, or fight fans don't remember who won. They remember if it was a great fight or not. That, to me, was a great fight between Mercito and Juan Antonio Rodriguez. It was one of those fights I enjoy watching. I remember I was watching it with Charles Huerta and his wife, and we had a blast. It was a good fight. We were, on the edge of our seats. And that's all that matters. At this age, especially with Mercito, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. This isn't career building anymore. This is, you're at the top. You got to fight the fights. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. It's okay. But you fight, and it matters how you perform to see if you get the next fight. Mercito could have maybe won, and the fight was going to be boring, and you would have been like, I don't care for Mercito anymore. But in this case, put on a hell of a performance. He dropped the guy in the first round. A lot of back and forth action. Now you're kind of interested in Mercito, so good for him. Again, the loss is just a loss, just a number. Again, show me what else you got. He didn't look like he was slowing down or anything like that, so good for him. Other than that, that's it. You know what? One thing I did do, I posted on my Twitter, and I should have done it on like my Instagram and whatnot. Ya empezó a chingar su madre, Winston. Should have done that as well. But I asked any questions that a lot of you guys would, anything that you guys would want me to answer, and some folks did actually respond. So let me get my phone out here because I just kind of want to go through them. One guy, let's see, _ Sue _ Whoop _ Lex. So Sue Whoop Lex. I know what that means. Remember, I grew up in Compton. So again, my question was any questions that you guys had for the podcast. I will go ahead and answer them in the podcast. So one of the question was Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua versus previous heavyweights. So pretty much, how would Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder fare against the heavyweight division? It's different because you know what? These heavyweights nowadays, remember, heavyweights depends on what generation you're talking about. The one thing with Wilder is that people have always said he's been chinny. Lately I haven't seen it, because he's been able to sustain the attack, especially with Ortiz and then the Gypsy King. So he's been good, but the one thing that kind of puts him ahead of the curve is the fact that he could crack. He has that eraser that if he touches you, he touches you. Sort of like George Foreman had. George Foreman was very big, very strong, just like Deontay Wilder. The only thing with Deontay Wilder is, again, that they say he's a little chinny, but then again, who isn't in the heavyweight division? Anytime a guy that's over 200 pounds, solid 200 pounds, is going to hit you, he's going to drop you. I don't care what weight or what size are you. As far as Joshua looks like a built fighter, like one of those fighters you built on Fight Night. He looks like your perfect fighter, but I mean, we also got to think about Joshua did fight Klitschko, a very faded version of Klitschko. Oh, I don't want to say faded, but just non-prime Klitschko. How would he have done versus Vitali? Prime versus prime. Would he have done very good? I mean, kind of, if he went, hey, put on a hell of a performance versus Vladimir, and that's a very old Vladimir. Now imagine a prime Vitali, Muhammad Ali, George Foreman. Completely different monsters. Would they fare good? Yeah, absolutely. They'll do great. But would they be champions? No, there's no way, shape, or form. While I'm in his DMs, Subu Alex asks, do you see any improvements in Ryan? You see, that's the thing. I give Ryan that. There's a lot of people asking questions about him, and I'll get on that. So the question again is, do you see any improvements in Ryan Garcia? The honest answer is no. I don't see any improvement. That's the reason why they are regressing with his opponents. Ryan was in a very steady stream of opponents, but it came to the point where he wasn't hurting them, or they were very even fights. And when you have a golden goose like Ryan is to Golden Boy, you don't want to get him hurt. Not right now. Not for the next 10 fights at least. You don't want to put him against fighters that can't beat him. That's why they're looking for these opponents that you haven't heard of. That way your traditional fan doesn't know who he's fighting. I'll give you an example. The fighter that he's fighting this week, the Saturday on DAZN, no one knows who he is. The record doesn't look bad. But the fact of the matter is, if you really dig deep, the guy is not that good. Ryan's just going to go in there and get rid of the guy. And, of course, going to claim it like he just beat the next Floyd Mayweather. He's fighting a D-level opponent, and that's exactly what he is. It's a D-level opponent with a manufactured a record. But yeah, that's my god awful I guess assumption of this. Let's see what else you guys have. Alonzo, again another Ryan question. Will you be? And again, this is Alonzo 21G. Will you be Ryan's padrino for his little girl? Damn. No, I don't think so. I don't think Ryan's Catholic. I think only Catholics do the Godfather thing, right? No. Hey, man, look, Ryan looks, really happy with his kid. Kudos to him. One thing, kind of softens the heart is when you see a kid. So remember when I saw the picture of him and his kid, the first thing I said was, be great for that kid. And I honestly, I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I really want him to be great. Let's see, another question. Oh my God, this one has all type of question marks, commas, and periods. It's from Art Deloom. Again, this is on Instagram. It says, I used to be interested in Anthony Joshua. Nowadays, my interest is meh. With Usyk moving up to heavyweight, Wilder's one-hitter quitter punch, and the Undertaker of boxing, aka Fury, I think he has busy upcoming. It's a busy upcoming schedule. So I guess he's asking, what type of question? Let's see. I guess he goes off on his rant talking about, pretty much will Anthony Joshua be up to the challenge? I guess really the question is, with all these other heavyweights being around, what's the definition of Anthony Joshua? And I think that's That's one of the ways everybody feels, that everybody was very high on Anthony Joshua till Anthony Joshua learned that he's the golden goose and he's underpaying opponents based on the magnitude of the fights. Because remember, fighting Anthony Joshua is, even if you're gonna get knocked out, he is the golden goose. So his way of not wanting to fight or not fighting the fight, not going after the fights, because at this point he gets into politics, it's a huge turnoff. Look, Big Baby Miller's a great fighter, but he's just a guy that looks intimidating because, we know he, pity pats his punches. He doesn't really have that knockout power, so I don't think there's much to that fight. It's interesting. I'm interested in that fight, but let's be honest. A Tyson Fury fight will interest people much more. Deontay Wilder fight will interest people much more. But my thing is, we can't really just knock Anthony Joshua. Deontay Wilder had the opportunity to make this fight happen. He was offered a great deal with DAZN, where he was going to get, I think, upwards of over $100 million. That's a lot of money for a guy that only sells, a couple of thousand tickets in his hometown. So I don't know. To me, it's a little awkward. It's everybody has a bad role to play when it comes to Joshua being on DAZN. Deontay Wilder being in the lackluster Showtime, and of course now Tyson Fury, like you said, the Undertaker, going the ESPN route. So seems like all those guys fucked everything up for everybody. Let's see who else. Turi805, Turi_805, which he also has a great boxing sports overall podcast, asks, serious question. Would you pay for a top-ranked prospect versus Golden Boy prospect card? The question is, the answer is absolutely. Who wouldn't? I mean, I think as far as developing fighters, Top Rank is in a class of its own. They really know how to develop these fighters. They have the financial backing right now to develop, great fighters. Question is, how willing are they to make fights where they're not the A side? Every fight that goes the Top Rank way, you could already, it makes it not even interesting to put a bet on, because you already know who's going to win. They're not stupid. They know exactly what they do. They don't go to please the fan. They go to build records. So would Top Rank be able to put their A side versus Golden Boy A side? I don't think so. They would only be able to put fights that will benefit them. Again, we're talking about Top Rank, the company that made Floyd Mayweather Jr., the company that made Oscar de la Hoya, Manny Pacquiao. Anybody that could pretty much fight from the 2000s all the way to 2010s. Again, the Lomachenkos, they've made these fights. So, yeah, that would happen. I would love it, Turi. You're absolutely right. I would love it. But yeah, I mean, that won't happen. Another question here from Juice_Go. When will Canelo wear Adidas gloves? You know what? That's a good question. It's something that will never, well, I'm not going to say never happen, but I'm not the type of person that would try to meddle into somebody else's thing. Look, whoever glove company you have, that's you. That's what you like. It's good for you. The only thing, and I've always said that what matters here is that your hands feel great. If Canelo now has his own glove company, or at least his trainer has his own glove company, seems like they're doing good. Good for them. Would I want to work with Canelo? Absolutely. Would I want to work with a lot of these fighters? Absolutely. But I am not one to try to, quote unquote, steal fighters. That's not the way it works. You gotta, at the end of the day, you gotta work with ethics when it comes to boxing. And I know there's very few out there, but I definitely have them. I think that was it. There's some other stuff that people ask, but like this guy Aristocrat, this is just disgusting. He said, "Yeah, thongs are boxers, Guru, bro. If I put a thong on, I won't find it till next week." With that said, guys, that's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Again, quick housekeeping rule: subscribe, like, rate. Again, I'm on Spotify. Spreaker, iTunes, and YouTube. Again, thank you so much for listening. This has been the Mr. Boxing Guru podcast. Thank you guys.